Are we back recording?
Yes.
All right, so we are back in session. Time now is 10:41 a.m. So we will move on with the next item on the agenda, which is request to review and modify decision of executive director under Rule 2.13B in reference to the Johnson matter. Is there a public comment on this? All right, so let's move on. So the person isn't here. Andrea, do you wanna say a couple words on this?
Thank you. Sure. The materials contain all of the information I think you need to know about why I made my decision and what information I based it on. So I think I actually can rest on, the written materials, but I'm open to questions if there are any commissioners.
Questions?
Have you applied this remedy before in any situation you recall?
Yes.
Anything else? Any other questions? All right, let's go ahead. I move that good cause has not been shown to hold a hearing, and we are therefore affirming the executive director's decision.
I'll second that.
All right, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great.
Could I hear an aye? Are you an aye?
Yes. Okay, so next item on the agenda, B, promotional exam protest reviews. So we did not get any fire battalion chief or board protest reviews. We did get one exam protest review filed for fire board pilot written exam. I want to make sure that I share some important information just about the overall process before we start to review the proceeding. So I'm just going to read some information that will be helpful. So based on the process described in Rule 9.23B of the Public Safety Civil Service Rules of Practice and Procedure, the Commission reviews protests from examinees related to promotional exam. The Commission, in its role in reviewing exam protest decisions, has historically given significant deference to the subject matter experts who developed the exam. Those experts are the members of the Exam Development Committee. In past discussions by the Commission about this process, one of the topics discussed has been the standard of review for such exam protest reviews. The standard the Commission has adopted is clearly erroneous standard of review. Under the clearly erroneous standard, in this context, as stated in Rule 9.23B, the Commission shall only reverse the decision of the Exam Development Committee on protest if, after considering all evidence, it is left with a definite and firm conviction that a mistake has been made, even if there is some evidence to uphold that decision. The standard gives deference to the expertise of the Development Committee, but allows the Commission to reverse a decision of the Development Committee if the Commission determines, based on definite and firm conviction, that a mistake has been made. Regarding the process for today's review, there's an order of proceeding and it will be as follows. So we'll description by the protester related to the basis for their review, request for review, and the remedy they are seeking. We're just going to give a short time limit, which I'll discuss in a minute. Description by the Exam Development Committee related to their decision to deny the protester's exam protest. Closing statement by the protester, consideration and discussion by the Commission, and then followed by a decision. Do the commissioners or parties have any questions based on what I have described before we begin? All right, so I'm going to start out by giving about 5 minutes in total, but I will give a 1 minute warning at the 4 minute mark just to make sure, for sake of time, we keep things rolling. So first up, we have the Exam Development Committee.
Sure. Yes. Hello, I'm Yoshiko Grace-Hansu, one of the fire exams administrators.
Just real quick. So the process you just laid out, the protester going first.
Is the protester here today? Let's see.
I don't see him either.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Okay.
Okay, so I feel like we have enough information to continue with the goal to maintain integrity. So I'll go ahead and start with the Exam Development Committee.
I'm Yoshiko Grace Matsui with the Exam Development Committee.
I'm Amy Jo Snowberger, also with the Exam Development Committee.
And one of our consultants is online with us, but unfortunately he can't speak. And so if it would be okay, I can add him telephonically. All right, let me see if I can get a hold of him. He is at North Bend at the training academy.
Jill,
Hi, we are on the air and live in the air. You may want to mute your computer.
there we go. Does that help?
Yes, it does. Would you like to introduce yourself to the commission and the guests?
Yes, good morning. My name is Luke Carpenter. I'm a subject matter expert working with Yoshiko to develop both pilot and engineer exams. I've worked in that capacity for, I think, about 18 years. I apologize for disruptions today. I'm up at the State Fire Academy, so it's difficult to communicate up here. Thank you for bearing with me.
Thank you for being here.
All right. I'm going to do a very quick walkthrough of your
Really quick before you start, we'll give 10 minutes since the protester's not here, so it gives you just a couple extra minutes. So I will do a check-in at the 55.
Great, thank you. So in this kit, if you have it, there's a timeline of a sequence of when the written exam was administered, when we had the heat copy inspection protest period. Then at the end of that period, the development committee met to review all the protests that were submitted. There were 4 protests submitted. The decisions were made in that meeting to approve 3 of those protests and then to deny 1 protest and actually remove the question from the exam. That's the one we're hearing today. We give candidates time to review the decisions on protests and then to file a request to review the protest. And they had about 4 days to do that. At the conclusion of that time, the committee met again to look at the new materials that were produced by the candidate and also to get ready to prepare this packet. And we stand by our request to deny the petition to restore the question. All right, so the question, I would say, was exceptionally well-intentioned. We really wanted to have folks apply knowledge and some of the reading materials and prove that they understood the concept. And so we included what is basically like a math problem in the written exam. Unfortunately, we didn't use a picture or a question that was present in the bibliography material, which, looking back now, I regret having made that decision because everything that should be in the written exam should be from a bibliography source. Now, the answer or the methodology of how you derive whether or not something is listing or the trim of a vessel is in the book. I mean, it's in the book multiple places. But this is like saying, hey, I just told you that 2 + 2 is 4 in the book, and there's an answer that says 4. And now I'm going to give you a test that says, what's 3 + 1? Well, 3 + 1 is not in the book. Should you know what 3 + 1 is? I argue the answer is yes. But it's inappropriate and not in keeping with our past practice to have a question in the written exam portion that is not derived directly from an answer that's in the book. So we identified this issue when the protest was submitted and said, well, should we grant this or should we go, why is this question here in the first place? And so in reflecting on that, I've decided that this question is inappropriate, and the application of those kinds of skills really comes at the second part of our exam. Those are things that we measure in the practical exam, not in the written exam. A written exam is a test of knowledge from a set of bibliography materials that are preset. We've told you 90 days, 120 days in advance what's going to be on the written exam, and it should not deviate. So while I feel like it was best intention to say, hey, I want you to apply this knowledge and tell me if you know anything about vessel stability before you board a vessel that is either sinking or on fire, it was not the best choice in alignment with our past practices. So that is the reason why we decided to recommend the removal of this question. Thank you. Did I miss anything? No, okay. So on page 6 of this packet is a picture of what was supposed to be the source material, and you can see that there's no question there and there's no answer to the question. And then you have the bibliography as an example, and then you have the candidate protest and appeal. Luke, do you think did I miss anything, or would you like to add anything?
No, I think you covered the issue very well.
I wonder though, Evan, about not having this just as a practical, as part of the practical. It seems to me there's sort of two aspects. There's sort of, do you understand the concept, and on the boat, can you recognize that? So is your eyesight good enough to see whether, so I don't know, it seems to me maybe there's a value in having it on both, but that's sort of your decision, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, do I think someone should know how to calculate trim? Yes. But the correct answer to this specific problem is not in the bibliography.
Right. I get
So
that.
yeah, I think the information is definitely valuable in both the written and the practical, but the written should have been formatted like from an answer derived directly out of the book. Each one of our questions, you should be able to open the bibliography, go to the key answer, and find it on the page that it says it is, and that's not what occurred here. Yeah.
For the written,
For this specific question, for the written exam.
for the written exam, yes, and then
Yeah.
the practical.
The practical is not constrained to the bibliography. The practical, I like to think of it as the test material is your job. Anything that you would encounter on the job is something that's fair game for the practical.
And so if I may, there are two opportunities in the practical. One is in the simulator center, and the other is in real world. When we go out on the boats, there is two opportunities to test this knowledge of a candidate, to actually read the draft of a vessel in the water, or working with the sim center to create that image on the screen where they would have to do that. So there's a way to capture their ability to measure this.
Thank you.
Not to say that we will or won't do that on the practical, which is
Any questions? Thank you.
all right. Thank you. I'm going to turn you off, Luke, and you can stay in the meeting and listen to us if you would like.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks, Luke.
Bye.
for your patience with the technology issues.
All right, next up would be the closing statement by the protester. Didn't see anyone come in late, so we do not have a protester present. Any comments, discussion, commissioners? I don't have any either. I move that we uphold the denial decision and to accept the recommendation of the committee to remove the question in total.
I'll second that.
Right, any discussions?
I can see the guy's point, I can see his point from what he says, but I can't, it certainly is not clearly erroneous.
Yeah. Same, I feel like there's a lot of, it's a thorough process, obviously, of information. I appreciate everyone sharing the information for us to consider, but when it comes to test taking, it's just important to be able to see and reflect information to be able to guide in a test format, and it looks somewhat similar, even if the numbers information is different. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, thank you. Let's move on to the next topic on the agenda. And we will start with updates and discussion. So fire and police exam units, police exam team.
Start with Ashley.
Hello, good morning. All right, I will go ahead and start by covering updates on the entry-level police officer testing as well as lateral police officer testing. So for entry level, we have had almost 3,000 applicants so far year to date. So it's specifically 2,827 applications. So that is on track to surpass last year's record numbers. And in terms of how many candidates have made it onto the register, that is 756 candidates. So those are the folks who have been sent over to SPD for further screening. And yeah, for lateral, we've also seen an uptick in lateral applications. So far, we've had 62 qualified lateral applicants so far this year. That's about 20 more than we had this time last year. So yeah, definitely, you know, a little bit of an upswing from what we've seen in previous years. And yeah, lots more candidates participating in the exam as well and in our oral board administration. So we've had 23 total candidates placed on the lateral register so far this year. And we have our next oral board administration next Saturday on the 27th. I think that covers it. I'll hand it over to Rachel.
And you always are asking me, where are these people from, our lateral candidates? And I never have tried to, so I thought I would just do a quick, if you wanna, there's one for each of them. It's just a quick reference for the 26, and that includes the 26 lateral applicants who have passed the NTN test, and includes the three, the three that we're going to be interviewing on the 27th. So that's where they're from. So from everywhere, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's east. That's amazing. Yeah, I thought I'd see at least one Hawaii person. I was looking for Virginia.
But yeah, it's really been, as Adelaide said, it's really been picking up, and it kind of they come in swells. So for instance, in May, we had 13 individuals go through interviews, and so for the month of June, there'll only be 3. But it's, we'll get a big bunch that complete their testing and are ready for their oral board interview, and then it'll be a smaller number, and then it'll be a large number. So we try to stay on top of that and get our panelists lined up ahead of time to be available all day long for interviews if needed. But then we'll cut the day short if it's a smaller group. But yes, that is picking up, and we're very, very happy about that. Lateral candidates are very desired in the department because they don't have to go through the full BLEA Academy, the Basic Law Enforcement Training Academy. They'll be ready to work independently on the street much earlier. So, we're happy about that. With regard to our promotional exam processes, we're just now put the ask out over in the police department for individuals who are interested to serve as subject matter experts for the development of our police lieutenant and police captain's exams in 2027. That will close the 17th today for applications, and then we'll be reviewing those applications for selecting members of the development. So we're happy about that. Gotta get that work going. It takes a long time. Thanks, Rita.
Yes, thank you. So those look amazing. All right, next item, fire exam team.
And we're back.
I'm Yoshiko Grace Matsui, and I'm one of the fire exams analysts.
Joe Snowberger, another analyst on fire exams.
We are in the post-exam cleanup type situation with most of our exams this year and gearing up for a couple of things that are happening in the fall. So first, let's talk about captain and battalion chief. As you probably know, we finished up the oral boards for both of those exams early as not to overlap with the FIFA matches and the fun that we're all having this week with the traffic and hotels and things like that. Yeah, or not. Yeah, for the unfun we're having. And so we are in the process of calculating the service credit, which will go out in a worksheet to all candidates. I'm aiming for next week. And then the register for promotional consideration will be published on August 14th to be effective on August 15th. I would also remind folks that this is the first year for captain and battalion chief that there will be folks who potentially may not pass the oral board. And so that is something to be kept in mind as a group, let's say. We're in the process of scoring the fireboat pilot exam right now for written exam, and then the practical that Luke mentioned with the some days in a simulator and some days out on the water is coming up and towards the end of September, and that register is published in mid-December. We're gearing up, and I should say mostly Amy Jo is really gearing us up for the next round of firefighter. We'll open applications the first week of October. We will be doing in-person oral boards back at CTAC again, and continuing that actually to the month of January. So we had so many applications, so many qualified folks last year that we determined that we did not really need to have as long as an application and testing process or as long of a oral board administration time as well. And so we're going from 12 days of administration down to 8, which will only seem like less of an eternity when you're at the hotel, where it's a little bit like Groundhog Day, where every day you get up and do it again. And then next year we'll go back into lieutenant. Have I missed any tests? Those are all of them. We have a lot.
Thank you. Anything else? Questions? Thank you both.
Didn't mention too, Sergeant, we finished Sergeant this year, and we plan to post the new register as a result of that exam process on July 14th.
One question, Rachel. Understanding that the police department is no longer doing oral boards, that you mentioned something about oral board for laterals. Is that a different process?
It's completely different. And when the lateral program was initiated, having a candidate pass an oral board was stipulated. It was negotiated with them, so that maintained.
And for the promotional ranks, they're all having awards. It's entry level police officer.
It's only entry level.
All right, thank you. All right, next item. Let's see, fire staffing. Want to do it?
We got that.
Hi.
Yeah, exactly.
For towers, yeah, I'm gonna sit on that second. Let's see, our total head count uniforms is 1031 out of 1121 budgeted pockets. That is 90 vacancy head count. We're at plus 41 for the year, with 21, that spike in retirements that happens in June, 21 June retirements anticipated here. And we're planning on hiring approximately 70 into the August recruit class. We should be ahead of the game in February. Yeah, we might be ahead at the end of the year. Any questions?
Alan McKenzie couldn't join us today, but he did send along his data for the Seattle Police Department, so I'd be happy to share that.
Oh, yes.
For SPD. Okay, so he said as of June 11th, Seattle Police Department had hired 81 folks this year, employees, and separated 38. And then he gave a different date, as of May 31st, he gave me the employee count. He said all sworn, they have 1,125. Out of 1,277 authorized pockets, 1,184 of which are funded. And then in parentheses, it said for all of 2026. So I'm sorry, I cannot take any questions on that. But that is SPD's report.
Well, thank you for the information. All right, well, let's move on to the next item on the agenda. And Andrea, looks like you're back up with Executive Director, Budget and Department Updates.
Thank you. I'll start with the budget report, which is in your packets at page 32. The green page. Thanks, Teresa, for publishing that. This is a big picture overview of where we were on the date, June 9th. It looks like this was printed and published. So we were at a slightly more than 50% of our authorized budget for the year. This is about where we would expect to be because we're a little bit more than halfway through the year. We're tracking, of course, all of our expenditures and beginning to enter contracts for 2027. So please ask me any follow-up questions you have about this, but this is about where we should be. And I think we're on track for 2026. Budgetarily also, I can't report confidential and deliberative budget discussions, but we are moving through the budget process. You've seen articles in the paper. It's along those lines. I'll have more information for you in September. Sorry, I can't share more here in an open public meeting. And for the departmental report, you've heard a lot of reports today from our staff about how things are going. We do spend a bit of time dealing with appeals as well for both the public safety and civil service. But I think we spoke a little bit last month about the potential of a fire district ordinance and then potential vote, but it looks like that is not moving forward for right now. So I didn't anticipate any changes for our agency as a result, but I still don't anticipate any changes for our agency as a result, other than perhaps, the city's got to figure out a way to fund itself. We're looking forward to a little bit quieter summer now that almost all of the exam administration is complete for 2026. That's exciting.
Touch on this ordinance.
Oh yeah, thank you, Joe. So we've been working with the law department. Sarah Butler has been leading this work. Actually, why don't I channel Sarah for a couple of items? She's out at the office today. But we are bringing forward as part of the budget legislation a ordinance that would codify a name for the civil service department, because when the commissions, of course, were established a long time ago. But is it chapter 3?
Yeah.
Anyway, in chapter 3, most departments have a name, an official name. We've been going under various names such as the Seattle Service Commissions or the Seattle Civil Service Department, or even the Public Safety Civil Service Department. And so this will clarify for us, for members of the public, what our actual department name is, which is will be Civil Service Department. In addition to that, there is a additional nuance added to the eligibility for running for commissioner, that the employee running for commissioner will be required to have completed their probationary period before the filing date. It was suggested, we've been thinking about this for some time, and it's not because any particular problem has happened that folks have run for and won a position on the commission while they're in their probationary period. But to avoid having to rerun an election, it's quite a costly process, and to give more certainty to the members of both civil service systems to require the person who runs for commissioner to have completed at least 1 year of their initial probationary appointment, which is the one after they are hired. So promotional probation, we're not talking about that kind of probation. We're talking about your first, when you get hired as a police or firefighter, or an employee in the civil service, which there are probably hundreds of positions you could be hired into. are there any questions I can answer for you all about that?
No, it's exciting.
The only less exciting part of that legislation is that it would add gender neutral language. It would change gendered language to gender neutral language related to the civil service. Is there anything I'm missing?
Just that there's, the idea, the central focus is the change in the name to recognize that, as you said, it's in chapter 3 of the Seattle Municipal Code. But then in doing that, anytime we do legislation for the council to consider, there's provisions that we saw that there's some inconsistency or differences between public safety, civil service, and civil service. And some of those make some sense, some of those don't. So where appropriate, suggested some revisions to have them align more correctly. So that's still, the council hasn't taken that on yet. It's been drafted as for consideration.
Mm-hmm.
But that was it's always a challenge when you have anytime you do an ordinance, because you never could lead to bigger discussions about all kinds of different things. So the idea was to keep it pretty targeted on the subject at hand, but also if there's some kind of low hanging fruit, there were obviously things that could be improved within the current chapters in the SMC related to the commissions. Those were also addressed. And I know that should be controversial for the council, but who knows? So I'm sure Jerry will keep you up to date on that as it proceeds.
Yeah.
And this, as she said, this is part of the reason the initiation for this was the budget process, right? And having
That's the opportunity that comes up every year, of course. And I think there are, these kinds of ordinances, by which I mean sort of administrative updates. Like, for instance, a few years ago, the Seattle Department of Human Resources department was updated through the same kind of budget process. So I expect there'll be a number of them. And that's not to say that they aren't given due consideration, but I think the opportunity is just sort of like, while this big budget legislation is going through, they put a bunch of not similar, but these types of ordinances through it as well. But yes, this is something, it hasn't been, it hasn't caused great difficulty, but I will tell you, it has caused confusion in some of our systems. Dory probably can imagine what that would be, where, we're called one thing in one electronic city administrative system and called another thing over here. So it just takes a lot. It's just time and energy to get it sorted out. So this will bring uniformity to the way that our administrative systems can operate. Another thing that Sarah Butler would tell you if she were here is that she is continuing and really, I think, revving up to do some outreach to employees and departments and labor unions for upcoming elections later on this year for the commissioner role for both civil service and public safety civil service. And we're doing a rule update right now for the Civil Service Commission, and we'll be coordinating with, I think there are over 40 city unions and 20 city departments that have civil service employees. So although those rule updates are not, they're actually not substantive for the most part, there's just a lot of communication that's going to be happening in the next few months on those. Mike, is there anything that you think I'm leaving out that's departmental work that we could update the commission on here? Thanks. All right.
Next item, thank you, is the case status reports.
Thank you. The case status report for public safety civil service starts at page 33 of your material. And none of these cases are new to you. We've already discussed the last matter on this page. Johnson. So I'll just update you on Ragon v. SPD. There actually is no change from the last meeting. The parties are engaging in discovery. We issued a scheduling order And we expect that that matter will proceed to hearing on the scheduled dates of October 27, 28, and 29. The Hill matter, as you also know, was continued. And we are working with the parties, and I think Teresa has either started or soon to do outreach to you all to get that matter rescheduled. So thank you for working with us on that. And no new appeals have been filed with the Public Safety Civil Service since that time, or since the last meeting. On the following pages, you see our closed matters, as well as requests for probationary extension. As you can see by the blue and red, we get those fairly regularly from both the Seattle Police and Fire Department when employees have been on a period of leave or other ways for the Fire Department at the discretion of the appointing authority pursuant to our rules. And on the last page, page 36, we regularly process requests for reinstatement to the eligible register pursuant to rule 10.03 that you all worked on a few years ago.
Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you.
All right, let's see, next item on the agenda, any old or new business?
I have one thing. I'm not gonna be here on July 16th for that meeting. So,
I am actually not going to be here on July 16th either, so this is a good time to maybe discuss whether we need to have or should cancel the July 16th meeting. You all have taken care of a lot of business today, and unless
Everything pending?
there is nothing pending. No, nothing's currently pending. You've taken care of a lot of work today.
It's not a comment for that commission. Or in the just yes, some of this means if you don't have a business.
Yep, we routinely do cancel one again last year.
Okay, well, in that case, I move that we cancel the July 16th, meeting at 10 a.m.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
I
All right, that's canceled. Okay, any other items? All right, well, if not, I move that we adjourn for today.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye. Great, and adjourn at, let's get 11:15. Thank you.
Yes, I do. As an administrative matter, I go